I want to talk a minute about a couple housekeeping things. I updated on Sunday, I think. I updated everybody's grades in Canvas. Put in your WebWork grades through section 1.1. Your CK12 is extra credit, so it was just your WebWork grade. Your textbook checks automatically fill in the grade book, so they're already there. And I can't remember if it was this class or the other section, but there were a couple grades that were really not very good. And I don't know, maybe I wasn't real clear on the deadline or what you needed to do. And so everybody this week got 100% on Infinite Campus. Okay, so Infinite Campus and Canvas grades this week do not match because I didn't want to penalize in the first week anybody who really wasn't understanding what the criteria were, what the requirements were, or expectations were, because there's really no reason you don't have 100 on WebWork. If you don't have 100, that just means you didn't finish, and maybe you didn't understand something, and then you didn't come in for help. Because when you come in for help, I sit down with you and I work on that problem with you until you get it right. So there's really no reason everybody doesn't have hundreds on WebWork. So make sure that you're doing WebWork, and then make sure you're doing the extra credit. I recorded last week. Every time I talk like this, I'm recording. And so if you haven't already, go into the recordings on Canvas and watch those so that you're clear on what the expectations are and the information everybody else got. Okay? And I'll give you some time to catch up, so don't stress. Okay? But so if your grade in Canvas isn't what you think it should be, then you also need to come talk to me, because I go into WebWork and I can see everybody's grades on WebWork, and I go into Canvas and then I record those. And we were supposed to have a grade pass back from WebWork to Canvas, and I'm not exactly sure it's working well. I think it's passing back like your first attempt, like if you sit in class and you get 6 out of 10 done, I think it pushes that grade forward. But then I think if you go back in and keep going, I'm not sure it gives you the revised grade. And so I just want you guys to know, when I put the grade in Canvas, I will go to WebWork directly, and I will see everybody's grade, and I will put your actual grade in. It's not going to be whatever you might see immediately on Canvas, so don't stress out when you see a grade that you were like, I just finished it, and I got 100, and it still shows I've got a 60 on Canvas. Don't worry. Okay, I'll make it right by the time the due date comes, and when I put grades in Infinite Campus weekly. Okay. What else was I going to say about WebWork? I think maybe that was it. So my point is, I realize we're still learning what expectations are in here and when things are due. So that's why I'm not going to put anybody on the ineligibility list in the first week. Everybody's going to be fine. Okay. Don't forget, 1.2 is due tonight. WebWork section 1.2. All right. Okay, so let's talk about 1.3, which is where we're at. And I just want to refresh you on where you go to find the information you need to prepare for class. So you go to modules, you go to chapter 1, and then you go down to section 1.3. So this was what I had asked everybody last week to come prepared today with. And don't just watch the videos, because some of the things on the textbook check are going to come straight out of the textbook. So make sure that you're reading the text, and as you get to a video, watch the video, and then read the text, and so on. Okay? And then this one had how many pages? Just 2. There were a couple videos. I was just going to look through it here. Yeah, so 2 pages, 2 videos. That's what you should have read and watched. So let's look at the textbook check for section 1.3. The first question, in the expression 3a plus 6, 6 is called what? An exponent, a factor, a constant, or a variable? 6.
Oh, it's a constant.
It's a constant. Okay? Constants are numbers without variables attached to them. Okay? This whole thing's called an expression, and there are how many terms in this expression? The first one. In 3a plus 6, how many terms? There's just 2 terms. Yeah. So 3a is one term, and 6 is another. Terms are combined by addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, they're combined by some sort of operation. Okay? So there are two terms in this. In the expressions negative 6x squared plus 8y squared minus 14x minus 4, if I were to factor out the greatest common factor from all of these terms, what would that be?
2.
2. The greatest common factor is the largest number that goes into every term evenly. Okay? So in this case, 2 is the greatest common factor. And how many terms are in this expression? There are 4 terms. Right? We have negative 6x squared is 1, 8y squared is 1, negative 14x is 1, and negative 4 is 1. What's the constant? Negative 4, really. Okay, negative 4 is the constant. If I asked you what the degree of this expression is, what would you tell me? The degree.
Would it be a negative or a positive?
Nope, it's a positive, but the degree. It's a degree of 2. The degree is the largest exponent. No, just the largest exponent. If you arrange all the terms from the largest exponent down to the constant, the degree of that expression is the largest exponent. And in this case, the largest exponent is a 2. So this is a second degree polynomial. And we'll get to that when we talk about polynomials. But just sometimes it's nice to have it once, and then when you hear it again, it makes sense to you. Okay? Question 3. When solving for x, perform the operations in the blank order as the order of operations. The exact order, the inverse order, the reverse order, the same order. It's reverse. Okay, and I'll show you what I mean in just a second. But this is a trick you can use when you take the ACT. When you see a question like this, I can eliminate 2 of the choices right away, just looking at the answers. What are they? This is something I want you guys to get in the habit for, just in taking multiple choice question tests.
Oh, you can get rid of the same.
Same and exact. Because they mean the same thing, so they obviously can't be the right answer if 2 answers mean the same thing. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it's nice in the ACT to be able to reduce your choices down to 2 instead of having all 4. So that's just it's a non-math trick, but something to look at when you look at multiple choice questions. If they have both the same answer, they mean the same thing, just eliminate them because they can't be the choice. That makes sense? Okay, so what I mean by reverse order it'll come up here in a second. Okay. Plus, it's probably not going to work out to an integer because I just made it up. But I want to talk about the reverse order and why that's the right answer. What's the order of operations? What's the very first thing you do?
Parentheses.
Parentheses. Maybe I should do this. Let's do okay, and then exponents, and then multiplication, and then division, and then addition and subtraction, right? So if I were to follow the order of operations here, the first thing I would do is parentheses, and then exponents, and then multiplication, division, and then addition, subtraction. But I'm trying to solve this. So first I might go ahead and just combine this to simplify. But if I were to follow order of operations, I would go ahead and divide by 10 because division is before subtraction. But that's not how I solve this. I have to do it in the reverse order. I have to get down to the x term and then I divide. Right? And so actually I'm going to go from the bottom. I'm going to do addition and subtraction first. I'm going to do the opposite of what I have here to get rid of the 7 on the left, and then do the same thing to the other side. Right? And now I can divide. And then I can take the square root, which is the exponent. I'm moving up the order of operations instead of down. You see what I mean? So when you solve equations, you're actually following the order of operations in reverse. That was the point of that question. Okay. Let's see here. Come on. Honestly, I think the wind somehow affects my board. I don't know. It was across or maybe it doesn't. Okay. Next one. In the equation A equals 1/2 BH, solve for H, or solve for B, sorry. Okay, you're going to see equations like this in this class. And I don't know, did you see this in Algebra 1 where you had multiple variables and you have to solve for a variable? Okay, so you need to be able to do this in science classes as you progress through the science. You need to be able to, if you know an equation, but you don't want to find the area, you have the area, and you want to find the height, you need to be able to solve for the height variable instead of having just the equation A equals 1/2 BH. Okay, so to do this one, don't get overwhelmed by all these multiple letters. The letters are just a placeholder for a number. Okay? If I were trying, if H was a number and B was the variable and I wanted to solve, what would be the first thing I might do to this right side of the equation? What's that?
Divided by B.
If I'm trying to solve for B.
Right. You're trying to solve for B.
I want to get B by itself. So I want to get rid of the 1/2 and I want to get rid of the H.
Oh, divided by 1/2.
Okay, so divide it by 1/2. And anytime you divide by a fraction, you multiply by, this is the mantra that we've got to know. Anytime you divide by a fraction, you multiply by the inverse or the reciprocal. Okay, so don't divide by 1/2 if you see a fraction. Multiply by the reciprocal. Okay, so I'm going to multiply both sides by the reciprocal, which is 2/1, right? And that makes this go to 1, but I have to do it over here. Okay, so now I have 2A equals BH, and I'm trying to solve for B. So what's the next step?
Divided by H.
Divide by H, because H is just a number. It's just a placeholder for a number. So if I wanted to find the base of a triangle and I knew the area and the height, I would take 2 times the area and divide it by the height. And that's how I solve for B. Okay, so you've got to be able to solve for variables on one side and another of the equation. So 2A over H, last one, was the answer there. Okay. Question 5. In the video that discussed combining like terms, 7x and 3x squared were considered like terms because they both have the variable x. True or false? False. Why is it false?
Because they don't have the same x. One has x, one has and the other one.
Yeah, when you combine like terms, you have to combine like exponents. So 7x cubed and 2x squared both have x's, so it kind of seems like they're like terms, but one's a cubic and one's a square. Okay, and so they are not like terms. So that one is false. Okay. I will be gone the next 3 days. I'm going to a conference. So Mrs. Fennell will be here. Okay. I'm right now getting her instructions written up, but I recorded, like I'm doing now, last year. And so she's going to be playing like the recording for section 1-4 and the quiz review. I wonder, yeah, we have a quiz Thursday. So I have a video that I put together going over the textbook check for section 1-4, which I'll have tomorrow, and then a review for the quiz that you're going to have on Thursday. When you hear the video, the dates will be all wrong. Okay, they're going to say, you know, tomorrow, Monday, whatever, because I recorded it last year. Okay, so just disregard any dates. Don't get confused by due dates. Due dates are what they are in Canvas. But the material is the same. Okay, so she'll play that for you after you take your textbook check, and you'll have the review for the quiz, and then you can get to work on web work, and then the quiz will be on Thursday.
Is it on paper?
It's gonna. The first quiz is on the Chromebook. Okay, and I've already opened it. It'll open as soon as you come to class on Thursday. Okay, and it's going to close at the end of the period, so make sure you try and get through it. Everybody should get through it. There's 10 questions. A little later, I start going to paper, just because some kids can't finish in class and they need to come in by after school or before school or whatever, and I don't want it to close on you. But for now, that first one should be okay. Any questions on 1-2 that's due tonight? Yes?
I don't know how to do it.
Huh?
I don't know how to get to Webwork or anything.
Okay, so did you go to the assignments tab in Canvas?
Yeah.
You have me on this problem.
Hold on just a sec. Let me stop this.